This was totally my fault. I can't even blame the connection. I literally have only myself to blame. I didn't prepare enough data for myself, and then it took me about 15 minutes to get back on, 20 minutes. And I was like, and I just feel like I let you guys all down. And this was our first exercise, and this is how I started it out, and this is how, so this was, I just feel like I let you all down, and I affected your experience. And of course, everyone was super understanding, held space for me to just get it all together, and it was no problem. But for me, it was a really hard, just because it was just such a stressful few days, right? And it was not even over yet, and I was having so many issues. So that was kind of the first breakdown, and moved on, and still had connectivity issues the rest of the day. And it was getting so much worse, where like I would speak, and it would be so lagged that I would be completely interrupting somebody, but not by, there would be a space for me to talk. I would talk, but because it was so lagged, someone else would already have started talking, and then I'm completely cutting them off, and then they get interrupted, and then they're like, oh, what's going on? Like, oh, do you have something to say? And at that point, I'm like, okay, well, there was nothing I could do about that, but that's still like me affecting other people's experience because I didn't have enough internet connection, cellular connection. So that was really frustrating, and it just got harder and harder throughout the night. And it ended at like 10 or 11 a.m. And at that point, I'm sleep deprived, of course. I've been pulling an all-nighter, had all of these issues, and had spent the last 48 hours completely stressed out, just trying to figure out the internet. I spent a full 2 days trying to figure out the internet, trying to make it work. And after all of the effort I had put into it, it still quite screwed me over. So, kind of broke down again. Had talked with somebody on the phone who was in my group, and he just allowed me to break down, and was able to kind of help me through that. And I was just really tired and frustrated and upset and stressed out because, oh, okay, this is only day one. So what am I supposed to do for the rest of the weekend? And so this leads into my next dilemma that came up, and this wasn't necessarily a breakdown, but it was just, my next decision that I needed to make was, okay, am I going to stay here on the island and not continue the course? Because there's no way I could continue the course like that. I was not going to put myself in that situation again. So I either take the rest of the course another time, that was an option for me, or I can go travel about 2 hours into town to a different town that I had came from originally, take, the rest of the weekend from a hotel. So I was prepared to do that because I'm all in. I'm not, I'm really not prepared to give up right now. I just want to keep pushing for it, keep going. But my dilemma then came up where I was like, okay, but my commitment is to be here right now. My first commitment was to this island, to the Isla Experience, which is the resort that I'm staying at, the one that I'm doing artwork at. They were my first commitment. I've been committed to coming to this place and working here at this time for almost a year now. I have had these plans, right? So then it kind of, and just as, related to this, a huge theme of the course that comes up for everything is how you do one thing is how you do everything. I already had this quote in my head a lot. I've heard this through other people, and I hope you guys can't hear the music. Someone just turned music on. But yeah, so how you do one thing is how you do everything. And so that kind of starts playing in my head a lot. And I started to think, okay, so my first commitment was this place. And so if I was to leave and do what I think is more important, I do think the course is more important, but that's not my first commitment. Technically, that was my second commitment. So I had a little bit of an issue here where I was like, oh, okay, I'm not sure what to do. So I talked with one of my dad's friends because I was lucky enough to have two of my dad's best friends in the world were in the course with me. One of them was doing the course in the same position as myself, in the course. And then his other friend was one of the captains, kind of leading the course and just running the course from the sidelines kind of thing. And So I talked to that friend of his, and because he's just a kick-ass guy, and I just knew that he would be able to help me. And so I called him on the phone, and we talked, and it was honestly a short conversation because he was just easily able to fix my problem, like, immediately. So I'm really thankful for that. He was, I told him, so I don't know, like, this is, I just told him what I just told you guys. And he said, okay, he didn't tell me what to do, but he told me this is actually something that I've tried to figure out in my own life, which is around his business and career. He was trying to decide on, well, what's my first commitments? Like, is it, or what do I choose between my commitments? Is it what I decided on first, what I committed to first, or is it what's, like, more important to me? Like, he was trying to figure that out as well. And he said what he figured out is that it's, for himself, it's not about the chronological order of what his commitments are. It's actually the priorities that he has. It's the level of priorities that he has, and what is the biggest impact that's going to happen based on his choice for himself and for everybody around him. And so that completely answered my question. I said, oh, easy. Okay. Well, I totally agree. For one, I agree with you right now. That makes a lot of sense. Right now, the chronological order is me staying here. But my priority right now is to finish this course, to get to be in this course right now. And the most impact that it's going to have on myself and those around me is going to be doing this course, including the people here at the resort. Like, me taking this course is going to impact everybody around me, everybody. And like, every person that I come in contact with now is going to feel the effects that I have based on this course, because that's how powerful it is. So I obviously decided, okay, I guess I'm packing my bags and heading into town. Took a boat ride over to the mainland, traveled to a hotel that same day, still on no sleep. Had not gone to sleep yet because I ended up finishing up some work here, figuring out this decision, and literally just between doing all of this and then having to spend time to get over there, I had no sleep still in about 48 hours or so. So I get to the hotel. I was able to get about 2 hours of sleep, luckily, but I was like, okay, that's not good. But I was able to make it through, no problem. So that day was good. No breakdowns, I don't think, happened that's on day 2. So there's kind of the explanation of what happened there. That was like how so what happened to kind of like to bring this all together, that first breakdown, bring it all together is, the breakdown was my internet, which was my responsibility, my fault, So what I learned from that is, when you fail to prepare, you prepare to fail. And that's not my quote. I've heard this somewhere else from a different person, but that's like what I took from it. I failed to prepare. I thought that I had prepared everything, but I failed to prepare everything that I needed. I did not prepare enough data. I did not prepare, for all of this. And so, yeah, and then what I got to learn from that was that, and also I got to learn the wisdom from my dad's friend, who was able to tell me his wisdom around commitments versus priorities. And so that was really valuable, and that's going to be something that I remember throughout my rest of my life. So I'm really grateful. So, it's really important to be able to see the value that comes out of every mistake. And, for me, I don't see anything as a mistake. Like, any decision that may have seemed to be a bad decision or wrong decision, I don't see it as that. I just see it as, I clearly needed to learn something here, and that's what I needed to learn at that point. So I was not regretting anything. I was, I just knew that, okay, well, this is something I needed to learn, and there's going to be value that comes out of this situation. And that's how I view all my breakdowns, as hard as they are, because the next breakdown that happened was even so much harder on me, and literally this one was a lot harder to get over, but I'm, and I'm still kind of working on it, to be honest, because this one was so painful that I just, like, it makes me really, like, it really makes me genuinely physically cringe when I think about it. And so I'll tell you about that one now, I guess. So on the last day, so on the second last day at the end, we kind of had an assignment to, as a group, all of us in the course were to get together and to come up with a vision for all of us. So we each have our own individual visions, which I'll share with you mine later. But as a team, as a group, all of us, about all 50 or 70 or however many people we are, I don't even know, came together to come up with a vision for all of us as one vision. And one person was to take the lead on creating a piece of artwork for that. And I obviously was like, yeah, I'll do something on Photoshop. I'd love to. And I did. And I worked pretty hard on it, spent a few hours on it, made the most beautiful thing ever. Like I really loved it. And sent it. What I thought was that I sent it to the group, and I don't think it actually made it through. I don't know what happened there, to be honest. But they didn't receive it, or they weren't able to upload it. So what they were supposed to do, or what the group was supposed to do, was like, once I give them my artwork, is like put it up as their background. But I think that when I sent it, it didn't go through to them, or whatever happened. I'm not sure. So I sent it to them around, well, for you guys, for you listening, it would have been 3:30 in the morning. For me, it was like, I'm not sure what time in the afternoon, but I still hadn't slept yet. And so I go to sleep, set my alarm, don't know what happens, but guess what happened? I slept in. I did not wake up for the course. And this is like obviously my worst nightmare for anything. And I've since every single day, like this was so traumatic for me that every single day since then, I have woken up in like a panic state, which is not good. I actually wake up panicking every morning, not like a panic attack, but like thinking that I'm missing a course. Like every single morning I've woken up thinking, oh my gosh, I'm supposed to be on a call right now, and I'm not. And like, so that's how hard this breakdown was for me. Is it really affected me. So I wake up, one of my team members had called me like 10 times. A bunch of my team members called me, and I finally woke up, and it was 11:30 p.m. and the start time was supposed to be 11 p.m. And so what they did was everyone kind of renegotiated the start time, because we don't start without everybody being present. So everybody had to wait for me. And that's so much worse than me just like missing part of the day. Like, no, everybody is waiting for me to wake up. And so of course that was horrible to wake up so I wake up, I'm frantically like, oh my gosh, okay. So I get myself on the Zoom call, and then everyone's still trying to figure out putting out the artwork onto their computer. And what had happened was, so when I get on the Zoom call, I see that they have somebody else's artwork on there. So not only did I just miss part of not only am I late, which is a really big no-no on this kind of course. This is a leadership course. Like, you do not be late. You are impeccable with everything that you do. That's what the expectation is. That's what the standard is here, right? And I was late. And I get on and I see that everybody has a different person's artwork on there. So, I mean, luckily another girl stepped up, which I appreciate her for, stepped up and just created something kind of on the spot to replace the artwork that I didn't have ready for them, that they didn't have of mine. And so I get on there and it's somebody else's artwork. So not only am I late, but also all the work that I put into this beautiful piece of artwork of mine was now not even being used. And of course, once again, my fault completely. But so that was pretty painful. And so I get on there, I put her artwork onto mine, like, because we all need to have it on there, and we continue on. And then when I was able to get some feedback from everybody, everybody was quite patient with me and like giving me a lot of grace, because everybody knows that I'm in the Philippines. I'm doing things from an opposite time zone. Everybody knows how many issues I've been having. Like, they all understand and have seen me in this struggle of my experience in this course. So everybody kind of knows what I've been going through. And so everybody cut me a lot of slack, and I appreciate that. And so they, obviously tried to make me feel better, but I still felt still felt terrible about it. And so that one was harder, because it wasn't like, I already had felt like I thought that I had learned the lesson of poor